Hello, sushi crew. Oh my goodness. You know, you think things are going to go smooth and then they don't. That was my other monitor. Sorry. Hello, sushi crew. It's Wednesday. I'm Amy Fallon, and this is True Crime Sushi. So, it has been a couple of days of pretty significant press conferences, and this one is no exception. Yesterday we had Larry Malete, and today we have found out that human remains were found in the Carlton Reserve in Mayaka State Park, sorry. And articles belonging to Brian Laundrie were found there under rather curious circumstances, I would say. And I think most of you would agree with me as well. Um, Yvette says, nope, no coincidences. I'm going to take a few seconds to say hi to people, run through your comments. And this is going to be very conversational, very. So I'm just going to let your comments kind of dictate the order of events, but we will go ahead and watch the press conference once again. I want to go through some articles and then I want to discuss this. So, hey there, Berserker Loki. It's nice to see you. What is this? Terry. Amy, do you think they might have staged his personal items with a deceased body? I just don't believe it's Brian, in my opinion. Well, at this point, Terry, I think anything is possible. I'm not going to believe this is Brian until we get some answers from the FBI. And that's kind of where I am with that. Hi, Susie. Hi, Wake Up. Let's see. What do you have to say, Jason? We will never know 100% if the remains found are Brian's. The police cover things up and lie all the time. They've been catching a lot of backlash for the covering of this case. Well, I can't say that I 100% agree with you, but I appreciate your opinions. I do think that there are instances where the police cover things up, and I think there have been some definite missteps in this case. And I think the most glaring one is when Josh, the personal public information officer, stood in front of us and said, we know exactly where Brian Laundrie is. And apparently they didn't because they're lost. Hey, Jenny Penny. Susie C., did his parents go ID him? Well, they were there. So that's part of the problem here. Jason says, so it wouldn't surprise me if they put a dead body there and had Brian's parents stage some of his belongings to close the case. Jason, I have a good friend that has the same opinion. Susie C., they have found 5 dead people since searching for Brian. Heard that today too. And Jason agrees with you. Susie C. says she hopes the notebook will contain some answers. I do too. I'd love to look through that notebook. Hey, LA, what are you saying? From GTA, California, I'll be listening. Let's patiently wait and not waste energy guessing. That's, I think that's kind of where I'm at. Hello, Lily and Gail. Speed on through a lot of these. Hi, Kathy Lynch, Susie Baker. Let's see. Rotary Dial has a question. She says, or he, I'm not sure. I'm sorry. Hello, Amy and chat. I won't believe it until it's truly him, until the DNA comes back. Same here. This sort of reminds me of the Australian investor, the woman whose partial remains were found. Yes. And, we talked about that with Trisha Griffith on Web Sleuths, and Ping the Router weighed in on that too. So that is an interesting little connection you're making there. So there's me saying I'm going to grab something to drink, which I did. Hello, Shimpy, Twin Mom, 2011, Fred's Mama. Oh, you're in Florida too? Yay, we're having some good fall weather, which we never get. Hi, Catherine in Melbourne, Australia. PJ, Charlie Hunt, Gail Clark, Empress Takalata Kaka. Can't believe you make me say that. You know how I am about potty words. Louisiana girl, can't say your name. Let's see, S-O-J-C. It's like glasses and a nose in the middle. Hi, that's super cute. Language of horses. Catnip. Hello. Almost down here. Grandma Pamela 76. Shimpy. Teresa Milligan. Ooh, Shimpy's making a cake. Everybody had her way. Green Eyed PI. Tracy L. IB Me. Louisiana girl. First time catching a live. Yay. I'm glad you're here. Lexi S'mores. Jesse Diane Ryan. Beth Hunt. Robin Lane. Yeah, I can't read all of these, but I'm so excited that you're here. I Hate Chocolate is here. Yay. Fred's mama probably said your name before. I'm sorry if I'm saying it the second time. Kathy Wright. Yes. Okay. Here we go. Did the parents actually find the artifacts? Yes, they did. And I'm going to go ahead and read a statement here. Hold on one second. Let me pull it up. Tried to have myself organized here tonight. Okay, but I need to go back and pull down the comment because that was just way too easy for me. Okay, so this is a statement from take two. This is a statement from Steven Bertolino, the attorney for the Laundrie family. Chris and Roberta Laundrie went to the Creek Environmental Park this morning to search for Brian. The FBI and NPPD were informed last night of Brian's parents' intentions, and they met Chris and Roberta there this morning. After a brief search off of a trail that Brian frequented, some articles belonging to Brian were found. As of now, law enforcement is conducting a more thorough investigation of that area. And then he made a second statement this afternoon that reads like this. Chris and Roberta Laundrie were at the reserve earlier today when human remains and some of Brian's possessions were located in an area where they had initially advised law enforcement that Brian may be. And that's really important, the wording here. Where they had initially advised, which kind of indicates that they're questioning if law enforcement really looked there or something along that line of thinking. Chris and Roberta will wait for the forensic identification of the human remains before making any additional comments. I mean, have they made any comments? No, none. I think it's very, very suspicious, and I think most of you will agree with me that the parents say they're going to go out to the reserve and look where they told, law enforcement he might be. We're going to go out there. You want to meet us out there? And then, after all these months of searching, all of a sudden they stumble across Brian's belongings and some human remains. You guys, I can't. I really can't. It reminds me of like when I can't find something in my house and I know one of the kids took it and they don't want to tell me. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, look, I found it in the middle of the floor. And I'm like, yeah, okay. No. So here's what they found. Well, let's go ahead. I'll play the FBI press conference. They found human remains. They did not say partial. They said human remains. So listen for that in the press conference. They also said items belonging to Brian Laundrie. Earlier, it was reported items consistent to those that Brian Laundrie might own. So you have to listen to what the FBI is actually saying. And those items include a backpack and a notebook. And I also want you to keep in mind that this area had previously been underwater. So the water has receded and you're finding human remains, a backpack, and a notebook within, we don't know the details, but within close proximity of each other. So, yes, Kathy, I will put this up real quick. It has been so convoluted. Non-responsive family when GP was missing, Gabby Petito, and the parents find his belongings. That's just too weird. Yeah, I don't believe in coincidences, and this is a big old coincidence. What is Marilyn Riley saying? The FBI said that the area where remains were found were previously underwater. Does anyone remember when the rain started that flooded that area? I can tell you that I was down there, let's see, the Monday after Gabby's remains were found. So let me look at my calendar because you guys know I'm just a rocket science with dates. I have to always look at a calendar. I cannot rely on my brain. So Gabby's remains were found on September 19th. I was down there on the 20th. And on the 20th, it was so flooded. I drive an SUV that when I was going 20 miles an hour down a road, and specifically the roads leading into their neighborhood, and I couldn't even get down Wabasso that day. The water was going over the hood of my car, and I pulled into not a rental home. What would you call it? Like a model home. I pulled into a model home office because it had a elevated driveway because I needed to get out of there because my tailpipe was now in the water and I was afraid I was going to, flood the engine. So, so that would have been the 18th, 19th, 20th. It rained the 21st. It rained the 22nd. So, for a while. Grandma Pamela says it does seem staged to her, too. Carol Clark. If the parents found him, I'm a size 0. You're funny. Oh, my gosh. All right. So let's go ahead and wait. I don't know if you're talking to me. I'm not back in Northport. I went down on the 20th, the Monday after they found Gabby's remains. I was there for a couple days. So I went out to the reserve. I was at City Hall. It was at her memorial, which is across from City Hall in a park, at the police station, at the house. So did a lot. So I don't know. Is that wrong, Tracy L? You say tailpipe blows out, water and engine. You're so cute. I don't know. All I know is that your tailpipe shouldn't be in the water. That sounds a little dirty, but it's true. Yeah. Pretty amazing that the parents just stumbled over the body. I agree. And before we play, something is weird. This is from Tambra. I still think they're trying to distract law enforcement from Ocala because I thought that really looked like Brian Laundrie. Well, you could be right. And here's one of the things, and I'll stop for 1 minute, and I'm going to stare at the ceiling and not look at your comments so that I can concentrate on this. So I was thinking about this yesterday, and I shared it with somebody, and I can't remember who. But Brian Laundrie I'm not sure he's a chameleon in his physical appearance, but I think there's a generic look about him. And it reminds me of Ted Bundy and the way he could kind of slightly change his looks, whether it's the way he parted his hair or, his posture or, whatever. And then the second person that came to mind was Andrew Cunanan. And I don't know if you all remember who he was, but he's responsible for the murder of Gianni Versace. And Andrew Cunanan was an average, he was a good looking guy, but he was average, but he could change his looks. He kind of could look like anybody. I feel like Brian can't really change his looks, but he kind of looks like everybody. And there's nothing real distinctive about him. And then it reminded me of, this is where the Amy comes in. It reminded me of the movie, The Talented Mr. Ripley. The way that you can fit yourself to fit into different situations. I think Brian's kind of there in the middle. He's just generic looking. So there's something about him that looks like a lot of people. So there you go. All right, let me look at your comments one more time. Ping says, it can't be this man. It can't be him. This man has a mustache. Okay. It took me way too long to read that. Sorry. That's funny though. Okay, so you remember Andrew Cunanan. Yes, he was a psychopath. Yep. Berserker Loki remembers. Louisiana Girl remembers. Yeah. Robin, he hid out in a houseboat. Ooh, what does Caldonia say? I think Brian contacted his parents yesterday, which might explain why they got up early today and suddenly found the exact spot. You know, I really can't disagree with you on that at all. At all. This is hard for me. I'm a very fact person. I want to see things in black and white. I want to see the police report. I want to do my own little research, but I can't really do that here. I've got to, I don't know what to think. I'm being honest. So I'm talking it out with you guys. When they say partial remains were found, the only way I'll ever believe it's Brian Laundrie is if it was his skull. I don't want to hear they found a foot or finger. I agree. I totally, Jay Thomas. Totally agree. All right. Here's one more. And then, yep, Tracy L., there's no good facts out there. I agree with you. What are we saying, Kathy Suter? No way did his parents just happen to go to the reserve on a day it reopened and boom. It's a miracle. They were right. They went right to his crap. No way. And 50 feet away, some human remains. Not him. He is far away. Yeah. I just can't, I sit there and I'm like, I just cannot. Kathy, dang, you've been up close and personal with this case. I liked your comment last night about the New York City wedding and the common male look these days. Oh, it's true. We went to a wedding. My husband and I went to a wedding in New York, and like September 4th, which was over the long weekend. And every guy there under 30 looked like Brian Laundrie. I promise you. It was weird. All the guys my husband's age are trying to hold on to the hair, and all the young guys are shaving it off. Oh, Charlie Hunt, why did the parents find these items and remains today, but all these searchers, drones, airplanes, and helicopters not find him a couple days ago? Good question. Yep, good question. All right, so on that note, skip over here. I'm going to play this press conference for you and listen closely to the verbiage they use, because I know there's been a lot of people, saying partial remains, and they don't know those are his items. They're going to tell you in the press conference differently. A second here. And this is courtesy of NBC6 South Florida. And here we go.
Our evidence response team is on scene using all available forensic resources to process the area. It's likely the team will be on scene for several days.
I know you have a lot of questions,
but we don't have all the answers yet.
We are working
diligently to get those answers for you. We are grateful for the dedication and professionalism of the Northport Police Department, along with our partners from the state and local agencies. Complex investigations such as this cannot be accomplished by one agency alone, but there are just too many agencies to name them all here today. Portions of the Myakkahatchee Creek Environment Park and Carlton Reserve will remain closed to the public until further notice. This is an active and ongoing investigation, so we ask the public to maintain distance from any law enforcement personnel, equipment, vehicles, and other related activity for the safety of the public and to protect the integrity of our work. We have no additional comment related to today's activities. Our FBI Denver office is the lead investigative agency, and all future inquiries should be directed to them. We appreciate the tremendous support from the public and continue to ask for your assistance in bringing this investigation to close. Thank you.
Was the backpack found near the body? Justice for Gabby! 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 Justice.
Okay. So there's nothing to make fun of here, really. But it sounded like there were like 9 people chanting and they couldn't be in unison. And it kind of drove me crazy. Not even gonna lie about it. So, okay, comments are going really fast. Basketball history, what are you saying? They didn't find the remains. They were there and the FBI was there, and the FBI informed them while they were there that they had found something. Well, I had thought that the laundries had found the personal items. Perhaps I am wrong, but because I often am. Aloha, weird mom. Let's see. Justice for Gabby, yes. You know, and that's the biggest thing too. I sat there today when so I was on the phone when this was playing out, and I was on a really important call, and I couldn't get off the phone to save my life. And in fact, at a couple times during that conversation, they said, you know, what do you think? And I was like, oh, I don't know what I think because I'm not listening to you. I am trying to find out what's going on with Brian Laundrie. So I was very, very frustrated. A lot of you were messaging me during that time. So one of my first emotions when all this started developing this afternoon is, and I'm curious if anybody else felt like me. Oh my gosh, they can't have found Brian deceased because we need him alive to tell us the rest of the story. Him dying in a park, him taking his own life, all of that it's not justice for Gabby. And I think about Mia Marcano and her family and how, you know, the person of interest in their daughter's death took his own life. It's got to be so frustrating. I just won't accept. I'm going to say it right now. I won't accept that Brian did that. I just won't. Plus, I think he's too full of himself. I saw some footage of his parents after the items were found walking out of the reserve. There was no emotion. Now, I know that everybody reacts differently to things, but I'm just not buying it. And I will tell you, I'm going to show you something on Twitter in a minute, but I think it smells really bad. Jenny Penny. So basically, Birdie and Chris are more skilled than the police. Okay. Yep, apparently. And then whatever. Yep. Let's see. Why chant justice for Gabby at the FBI? He's like, I'm trying. Yeah. I know that was a little weird. Okay, Jennifer White. Okay. See, I question myself because I'm wrong. She says the parents did not find him. I didn't think so either. Weird mom. It reminds me of the folks that jump behind reporters while they broadcast, that dance around doing like middle fingers and stuff. Yeah. Kathy Suter. Would his remains and backpack stay together in a heavily flooded area for 4 weeks? Nope. Until FBI verifies items as his or him, I think he is alive. I'm with you. And here's the thing. Not only was there water there and that area was underwater, it's stagnant water. And it's been hotter than you could believe. I mean, we are in the 70s right now, getting down to the 60s at night, but that's only been for like 3 days, and it won't last forever. Trust me. Like, we're all, you know, that meme where everybody looks like Han Solo, all those soccer moms, like boots and vests. we're breaking out our leather jackets on here because it may be our one opportunity this year. So, but it wasn't like that even a week ago. So I want you to imagine let's talk about even a moleskin notebook and paper sitting in water, a backpack sitting in water for, I don't know, even a week. That stuff is going to start breaking down. It's hot. There's the sun and there's water. It just doesn't make sense to me, you guys. It doesn't make sense to a former FBI agent who I have a little quote from in just a second. I'm sure some of you have seen it already, but I Hate Chocolate says, we don't know how the parents were assisting law enforcement. We don't know what Brian told them about Gabby not returning with them. If the body is Brian, I feel sorry for them as they have lost a child. I feel sorry for anybody that loses a child. I'll agree with that part. Absolutely. But this is so hard. You know, as a citizen of the United States, you have your Fifth Amendment rights, but I don't understand not communicating with the Petito family. There's just a lot of things that are red flags for me. And like I said, to just have that area searched and searched and searched, and then it's open to the public. The day it's open to the public, the laundries waltz in, Oh, look, over there. Is that Brian's backpack? Oh, could it be? And his notebook too? Oh, happy day. I can't, did little furry woodland creatures bring them to them like Cinderella? What the actual what? No. Unless it's the strangest coincidence in the world. And in that case, I'm missing a diamond necklace. It's been gone for like 4 years in my house. And I need the laundries to come over here because I'd really like it back. I mean, they must be really good at things. They should just start a business. They could be the Laundry Lost and Found. The Lost Sock Laundromat. There you go. The Lost Sock. All you guys that have a little pile of like one sock where you can't match them up, just, call in the laundries. They'll take care of it for you. Jenny Penny is here, but your device is not connected. So I want to have you, but it's not going to allow me to put you in the stream. You're going to need to either connect your mic isn't connected. There you go. Give me 1 second. 1 second here. Let me run down. I am so behind in comments. Berserker Loki. If it is him, I wonder if Gabby's family will file a civil case against the laundries. It'll be interesting to see what happens. I think there's a lot of possibilities here. Louise Davidson felt exactly the same. Thought, oh my God, if him, how will the family ever find out now? Got me thinking, would Brian Laundrie, if captured, tell the truth? I'm not sure about that either. I don't think they're very good friends, Brian Laundrie and the truth. Yes, Red Lake Wine again. They had combed that area previously. So this is very, very suspicious. Okay, Jenny, I am going to add you to the stream. Hey, how are you?
I'm okay. I put this in the chat, but I felt the same way. Like, man, I really wanted him to be alive so we could find out more, and also to see him get in big trouble,
Mm-hmm.
But also I wanted to see him cry, just saying.
Sure.
But I'm going to tell you, he's not going to tell the truth anyway, like you just said, but it's almost more frustrating when someone is saying a lot of things that aren't true, and that that's not what happened. You're the person in your life that got murdered or whatever, and they wouldn't act that way. The person would have the ability to interject so much more than that does a lot more harm than good sometimes. And being in this right now, I'm not even kidding. Like, they then have the ability to take away any meaning that person had for you, or change your opinion, even if you don't believe it, it still seeps into your thoughts, because that's what what narcissistic sociopaths do. They want to mess with you. And he would have messed with them, just the same way he messed with their daughter.
Yes.
And
No,
so,
that's a good point. It is. Because so what you're saying is if they get him in custody, we think we would be satisfied, but we would be equally annoyed and aggravated because he's not friends with the truth, and he likes to play the cat and mouse game, much like Letitia Stalk and many others.
you also will have the ability to change your thoughts on your person. You know what I mean? And any memory you have of that person, he would have the ability to say, actually, she was abusive, and you can't fight that. You know what I mean? Because you're never going to hear the whole story from him. You're never going to hear it. It's never going to be good enough because you can't bring the person back. Yeah. I think it sucks, though, and I hope that in my own way, I don't believe those parents didn't have anything to do with, him getting away or him being able to hide out or whatever. And I certainly don't believe that they just happened upon his stuff and his remains or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't believe that at all.
25,000 acres between that park and the reserve. And you're telling me they walked in this morning and they were like, look on yonder horizon. It glows like the sun. It's Brian's backpack. Come on.
This is too much. It's like so stupid. I'm sorry. It's just so stupid. It's like what you said, like your little kids being like, oh, here it is. The thing that's been missing, like it's so annoying. It's so goofball. It's ridiculous. But also those police people, I would believe it because I don't know that police department is that competent, to tell you the truth. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I'm not trying to be a jerk, but hey, this doesn't look too pretty on them. And to listen to the press conference when they're all congratulating each other, it's like, huh? Thank you for finding him. Like, thanks for letting him get away.
Right.
Thanks for not keeping an eye on him. Whatever. I think that I'm just dissatisfied in general about this one.
I will say that at the beginning of this, I had a lot of confidence in Northport Police Department because the FBI was brought in rather quickly. They knew they weren't equipped to handle it on their own.
Okay.
And so, I was kind of strolling along, and I saw, and I cannot remember Josh's last name, Josh Taylor. He's the public information officer for NPPD. I thought Josh was pretty good too. And then I started noticing things that weaknesses. And I say this because I want to be supportive of police departments, but we have to talk frankly. And not keeping eyes on him, they have admitted that when they went to that house, so this is how, let's just go over this again. This is how this plays out. On September 10th, Joe Petito, who lives across the state of Florida on the other coast, gets in his car. He's had enough. He's heard it from Nikki. Nikki's trying to call them. Nobody's answering. And he's done. So he drives across the state. And the police report's completely redacted. So I can only imagine what that scene was like. And seeing Joe on TV, he was probably knocking down the door like he was going to come through it. Like, where's my daughter? Her effing camper's in the driveway. What the hell is going on? Blah, 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 blah. Right? They call the police. They slip out a card. There's our attorney. And he's like, oh, hell no. And the police are like, okay. And then the next day is when Gabby's reported missing. The police admittedly say they never saw Brian on the 10th and they never saw Brian on the 11th. So here's one.
However, in their press conferences, they said, we know exactly where he's at, blah, 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 blah. Multiple times they said that. Right?
Exactly. So this is where it starts falling apart. And then Josh Taylor goes on what I guess it was on Twitter Live or something, and he's talking to Brian Enton, and Brian says, how did Brian Laundrie take the Mustang to the Carlton Reserve and you guys didn't see it. And Josh Taylor says to him, well, did you see it? You were there. I mean, like putting the burden on the press. So
Right.
there's two things. We don't know if Brian disappeared on September 6th. He could have been gone as early as September 6th, that weekend they went camping.
Yeah. Well, you start to see the cracks when Josh Taylor, that Friday night, I think it was, when they said that he was missing, that Brian was missing, you know? You start to see the cracks when he gets super defensive with JB Buno or whatever the heck his last name is.
Yes, JB. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like, that's when I was like, hold on a second. Something's up here. How is he missing? And then he starts to get real defensive, and you're like, okay, they got something they got to be defensive about, you know?
Well, they're backpedaling. And here, somebody said it right here. Caldonia says, is it just me, or do any of you think that the lawyer that has done an abysmal job representing their client? Well, there's that. I thought you were going to talk about the police department, but yes. Well, actually, I will tell you this, Caldonia. Sorry, Jenny. What he's doing right now for that family, although I don't agree with it, is pretty good. I don't agree with it.
No, he's done his job and he's done it well. You know what I mean? He's protected them. That's what his job is.
He's done a very good job. I don't like it because I think they're guilty as you know what. But sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Go ahead. We were talking about.
Well, the only thing that I can hope is that, and it's a terrible thought to think this, but that the parents will get found out if they helped him, and they will get into trouble, you know?
Yes.
That's the only thing that I can hope. And I can also hope that that notebook says something that's like honest, because hopefully it's like a personal journal or whatever, and he's probably going to be honest with himself in it, but I don't believe it for a second, you know? Mm-hmm. I just don't believe anything.
I don't either. I think when we started the conversation, I said, initially I had this confidence in law enforcement and FBI. And at this point, I think my brain, considering the possibilities, is like a bad version of the Wild Wild West. Uh-huh. It's like anything goes. Like literally, but a good friend of mine, who I don't want to mention her name because I don't want to embarrass her. You can own it in the comments if you want, but she has a theory, kind of like that Australian case, that maybe Brian's dad said, dude, if you're going to get away with this, we need like more than a finger or a toe. We need a hand. We need a foot. We need something like that. Throwing it out in the reserve like they found it. Yeah. She also said, it's a possibility that Brian and his dad got into it, and it was like, I can't believe you put me in this position, and his dad killed him out there. I don't know. 2 weeks ago, I would have been like, you're a job turkey. Like, I can't with this. But at this point, I'll listen to anything and consider it. I don't have any, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, all I know is that Gabby Petito is dead. She was murdered. And we can't find Brian. And those are the only things I really know as facts.
Yep. I think I have to stop listening to, all this true crime stuff, because I've found my faith in people doing the right thing has just gone down the toilet. And it's not just the true crime stuff. It's like, my own situation as well. It's like, even with the police, like, you could tell them all the things you want to, and no one's going to go out of their way to help you. It seems like, it feels like a lot of the time, let alone do the right thing. And, that's coming from a bitter and jaded place, but I used to not be this way. I really believed in the good of people. I did.
I hear you. It
just keeps coming. It's just in your face all the time. So it makes me feel like I need to like step away from it for a while. And yeah.
A lot of people have to step away for true crime for a while for that reason. And It's understandable. I can tell you, kind of like I'm not any different than you, except that I have a channel, but I have seen the other side of it, and I have seen some really amazing things happen.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I think the human brain is just this weird, complex place. It's kind of like somebody can say 6 really sweet, sincere, flattering, amazing things about you, and then they say one bad thing, and what do you remember? What does your brain hang on to most of the time? It's the negative, and we hear a lot of it here.
My brain doesn't work that way, though.
Oh, well, you're so lucky because mine does.
I'm not a naive person. I'm a pretty I want to see all sides of it. And usually I will look at the, I'll take the devil's advocate role, even in my own life. Like I really am that way, very much want to see both sides, but that's the way that I was brought up, like very critical of things,
Mm-hmm.
But I think that I have a hard time managing my expectations of humans. Like I expect them to act right, I know that they don't. And so I can sense it when they're not. Like I can tell immediately, like I'm a really good judge of character, but I'm still disappointed, it's still disappointing.
It is, and especially in this case because you're just I don't understand. I really, really don't understand the Laundries never communicating with the Petitos, even if it's like, listen, this is a bad situation. I don't know what's going on. You need to get down here. We have an attorney. Even if it was that, but to just ghost them, for lack of a better word, that's
the girl lived with them. That was going to be their daughter-in-law.
I know.
That's the thing that's like, how are you going to do that? Like, you don't have a heart, maybe. Or you love your son so much, And I get it. I do. I get it. But it's just gross. It's a bummer.
It is.
But this isn't this is happening all the time. This is the human condition sometimes, It's a selfish way to be.
Somebody's asking, it's Mary H., who found the stuff at the reserve, the parents or the police or the FBI? The parents.
Which is like, wow, so convenient, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's just, I can't with that.
I mean, I have to think to I was thinking about the parents recently and thinking like, man, what do you do after all this? Like your life does not go back to normal if they don't find the kid, either dead or alive. Right. If he's just in the wind, your life never goes back to normal. Are they going to move out of their neighborhood? Like how does their life go on?
They're international now. They can't go anywhere. They can't go anywhere.
Even in their own community, right? So I mean, I was watching that stuff. I think it was yesterday. They went to like the Walmart at like early in the morning and I mean, they had there was a bunch of photographers like following them around as though they're like Kim Kardashian, Kanye West,
Mm-hmm.
Like wow. And they don't live in I live in LA.
Oh, right. This is Northport, Florida.
Yeah. Everyone's gonna know them. So how does your life go on if they don't find the person dead or alive? How convenient they find them the next day,
Right. And
right.
It is very and interesting that you bring up their shopping trip yesterday because they were they went to Walmart, they went to FedEx, they did all these errands, right? And it's been reported that they've received a lot of Amazon packages lately.
Uh-huh.
So, and that could just be because they couldn't go to the grocery store or they just didn't want to because they're all holed up in their home. But I'm sure that the FBI found out. I mean, they're sneaking around like they're evading people. Like the FBI could walk into Walmart and say that register, that receipt, that footage, those people 2 minutes after they left. Same thing with the FedEx. That box they just mailed? Open it up right now.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. Like I used to do this thing to put some people count sheep to put themselves to sleep. I used to think to myself, like, if I was going to murder somebody, how would I do it so that I wouldn't get caught. Where would I hide the body? And I can't come up with it, so it makes me fall asleep because it's too much to think about. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
It's like trying to rearrange your house or pack your whole house into a van mentally. That will put me to sleep because it's like counting sheep. When you get to a certain number, you're like going to go out, right? So I was thinking about that. If they had anything to do with this kid getting away, they can't hide from it. You can't hide that stuff. There's too much electronics that come into play, you know? Like, they're not going to get away with it. So I hope they get caught if they had something to do with it. If they didn't, like, hey, sorry, their kid is dead. Like, wish they were better humans.
Good Lord.
Sorry.
No. I'm listening to you, and I agree with everything you're saying. I said good Lord because I just saw something. I'm going to share it with you guys in 1 second here. Let me just pull it up because this is just getting... I got to come up with another phrase that doesn't sound so like Valley Girl. I cannot. But I can't anymore. I think I'm at my, the only bad word I'll really ever say on YouTube is bullshit. And I have a limited bullshit tolerance. And I think I'm at my limit right now.
Why? What happened?
So there is a new, let me do this. Let me share. Sharing is caring. Hold on 1 second here. Steven Bertolino, can you all see that? Let me just make sure you can see it. Yep. Steven Bertolino has put out a new statement, and it goes something like this. This is per Brian Entin with News Nation Now. It says, Bertolino says his clients called him yesterday, and they said they wanted to search the reserve since it was back open. Bertolino says he called police and told them the laundries would be at the reserve at 7 a.m. today. And then it goes on to say, Laundrie family attorney Steven Bertolino says Chris and Roberta and 2 officers were spread out on either side of the trail. He says Chris found a bag containing some of Brian's items, and officers found the backpack on the other side of the trail, which is near the remains. And I want you guys to remember that they meaning Chris and Roberta Laundrie said in an earlier statement, we went out to look someplace we told the officers to look before. So
who didn't do their job? Did the officers, or I don't, like, whatever.
It's either okay. I'm just gonna say it. It's either planted. There's a picture of Chris and Roberta on the trail. It's either planted or the searchers did a piss poor job.
But also they said that the water had receded, much like Brian's hairline. And that could be, but it's way too convenient. I'm with you. How straight? Well, let's split up. Oh, hey, look what I found.
Yeah,
this trail I told you to search. Like, exactly. Yeah, it's weird. It just feels weird. But I don't know how you're gonna plant a backpack and stuff. You know what I mean? It's not like they went out there in the middle of the night because they can't even go to Walmart at 7 a.m. You know?
Right. Well, here you go. I mean, the Elmon says, I think they knew where it was in the beginning. They were hoping officers would find it, but they had to find it themselves. Yeah, back to my kids and my missing scissors. That's a good statement.
Mom is smart and she has good hair.
Oh, she has great hair. And yeah.
She's a cool lady.
She is. You stumble across people on YouTube and you form friendships, and she, like, the people in the chat and you and everybody else, but she's just, I'm so lucky that I just happened to click on her channel one night out of nowhere. Because
I didn't even know she had a channel. I will look at it.
Oh yeah, she has a great channel. She does a lot of deep dives into the Vallow Daybell case. And she says she's blushing.
I'm sure it looks beautiful.
I know, she's gorgeous. And she's very good because she spent her life in the LDS church
Oh, wow.
at helping pull doctrine and scripture to match them up with cases. So there's a couple of course, my brain is dead right now. The Lafferty case is the same way. It has a lot of scriptural references, and she's really good. Us lay persons, us other true crimers, we're trying to Google for like, does this match? And this person was wearing red, and is there symbolism? And she just knows it because she lived it. I mean, you couldn't be more knowledgeable about it unless you were, a 20-year doctorate theology student. So, yeah, she's amazing.
Well, I'll step down so somebody else can come up.
Okay, well, thank you so much for coming up. It's always good to hear from you. And I did see your comments about skating. We'll have to talk about that at some point.
Yeah.
Cool.
That was fun.
I'll
but
talk to you
your
later.
pictures, I was like, I see. Yeah, I was like, I know these kinds of people. Uh-huh.
Yeah. We have a giant shed in our backyard, and we have like a 30-foot vert ramp.
Yeah, my friends in LA had one of those in their backyard, and the city came and they had to take it down. So they put it in, I have a warehouse, and this big yard around it that's all fenced in. We put it there, and boy, that was fun for a minute. Yeah,
it is.
Yeah, it was really fun to have it there. But anyway, I'm going to go away now. Bye.
Bye.
I don't know how to go away, though. Hang on. Oh.
I don't think I've ever had anybody say they're going to go away now. That's how I'm going to leave now when I'm on other people's shows. I'm going to go away now. I like that. Oh. What are we saying over here? Basketball history. So it makes sense that the parents might want to go look for him, but they must have already had the idea he was going to do self-harm there, maybe. But that's what they had originally reported to the police, I believe. They had reported that Brian had gone into the reserve and not returned. They had seen his car there. There was a notice on his car from the police. It could be parked there. This is all before Gabby's reported. This is all before Gabby is found. So she's found on the 19th. All of this happened prior to that. So her body hadn't been found. I've always thought that Chris and Roberta had to give law enforcement something that created a sense of urgency about Brian being, in quotations, missing. And I think saying to police, my son might harm himself, would have been the words they would have used, because it went full blown right away. And again, this is before the recovery of Gabby Petito. Yeah, Tracy L., you're right. The park had been closed and only reopened today. Let's see. Going through the comments. No, you can't buy human remains from Amazon. But that's a good question. I'm not making fun of you. No, there's laws about what we can sell and what we can't, what we can broker and what we can't, for a multitude of reasons. This is interesting. Mark Klein says, most likely the police cut a deal with the parents. In my opinion, the parents are in deep, you know what? They didn't just get lucky. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it either. I can't. What are you saying, Caldonia? I don't think the parents did anything other than try to protect their son. Sadly, it came to a bad end. Well, we'll wait and see. I need the whole story in order to do that. But I mean, obviously, I could agree with that. They're protecting their son. Yes, that I can agree with. Absolutely. What are you saying, Mom? You can't ship them UPS either. I have a crazy story about that. I bet you. I know what you're talking about. I have a crazy story about that too. But I don't really. I feel badly talking about it, but it always reminds me of so I'm old. What is the movie? St. Elmo's Fire. Demi Moore, her character has a stepmother who has died, and she calls her step monster. And throughout the movie, she's constantly trying to find the cheapest way to get rid of her step monster's remains. And one of them is sailing out to sea and throwing it to the sharks and things like that. I just thought it was funny. I don't know why. I guess that's why I'm dark and sick. But yeah. Oh my goodness. Okay, so somebody knows what I'm talking about. It's always nice when somebody knows what's talking about in my weird brain. I want to read something to you. I'm going to go search it out, sussed it out very quickly, and not being successful at that at all. Give me a second here. All right. So this is a tweet. Let me see if I can pull it up on the screen. Because this is from a former FBI agent. And it is interesting. And I've come to really like and respect this person and their opinions. And they've been, I think they take good consideration when they talk about things. And they're sensible. So here we go. Let me do this real quickly. And let me, hold on. Gotta remember to take down comments before I do this. One of these days, I will learn to rock the StreamYard Casbah, but it's not tonight, folks. It's just not. All right. Okay. And so this is a tweet from Jennifer Coffindaffer, and she is a retired FBI agent, and you may have seen her on News Nation Now. You may have seen her doing video interviews with Brian Enton from News Nation Now, and this is what she posted this afternoon. So let's see, it would have been around right before 2:00 this afternoon, so definitely before the press conference. She says, facts. 1, Reserve opened. 2, Laundries tell police they're going to look for Brian Laundrie. 3, Laundries lead police to area where known items of Brian Laundrie's are recovered, found in an area open to the public. 4, me called. Meaning she calls BS on all of it. You know, at first I thought it was medical examiner called, but then nope, it's not. She's calling BS on all of it. And, you know, I like it. Oh. Hold on. What is this? Well, you don't have to announce it to all of us. I'm sorry that you didn't find your place here. There's a lot of true crime channels. Take your pick, and I'm sure one of them will make you happy. So, no worries. Let's see. Do Elmo. Neptune Society dumps ashes off of San Diego. Yep. Mm-hmm. Hey, Connie, my one flippin' life. It's good to see you. Let's see. What is Lynn Lathy saying? If anyone is into very old movies, watch Alfred Hitchcock's film entitled Rear Window. It is suspenseful. It stars James Stewart and Grace Kelly. Someone's wife just happens to disappear. I have to tell you, I have not seen that. But it's one of the ones that's like on my list if I need to be more well-rounded and to get the cultural references. So I'm going to, let me just do that tonight to take my brain off of all of this. All of it. All right. So let's see. It's 8:44. I am going to take one moment. I'm going to read you guys something. And if nobody else wants to come up, I'm going to put the link down here again. We'll kind of wrap it up for the night. And I know that this conversation will continue on Websleuths at 10:15 with Trisha Griffith, of course. The Grand Dam of True Crime. So, give me a second here. I think this is what I wanted to read to you. Okay. I might have too many links up right now, so give me a second here. Might have to do this from my phone. And that's okay because I can do that. I'd rather show you guys, but if we're just not going to cooperate, that's okay. I knew how to work around those things. So, yeah, it's just not going to. Hold on. It's just not going to cooperate. All right. So this is an article from Newsweek that, let's see, it dropped about 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. So it's just Brian Laundrie live updates. Flowers delivered to Laundrie home after FBI announced finding human remains. And it goes on to say, the search for Brian Laundrie continues Wednesday as Laundrie's parents were called to Mayakahatchee Creek Environmental Park. Laundrie family lawyer Steven Bertolino said the FBI and Northport Police Department found articles belonging to Brian and are conducting a more thorough investigation of the area. Brian Laundrie has been missing for weeks. He is a person of interest in her disappearance and subsequent homicide of his fiancée, Gabby Petito. The FBI issued a warrant for his arrest on charges related to his unauthorized use of Petito's bank card. Brian Laundrie's parents recovered some of his items during Wednesday's search in addition to the backpack and human remains located by law enforcement. Let's see. Laundrie family attorney Steven Bertolino said that Chris and Liberta Laundrie called him yesterday to say they wanted to help search the reserve, which had previously been underwater. The lawyer then called police to say his clients would be at Carlton Reserve at 7 a.m. this morning, and law enforcement met them there. Bertolino said that the couple and 2 officers were spread out on either side of the trail. At one point, Chris Laundrie found a bag containing some of his son's items. Police found Brian's backpack, which was mentioned during the FBI press briefing, on the other side of the trail near the unidentified human remains. Bertolino previously told reporters that Laundrie's parents assisted during the search when the remains were located, but the couple would not be providing comment until they are identified. Flowers were delivered to Brian Laundrie's home in Southwest Florida following the FBI announcement that unidentified human remains were discovered with items belonging to the 23-year-old. The package was delivered to Chris and Roberta Laundrie around 4 p.m. on Wednesday, according to a reporter on the scene. The delivery occurred less than an hour before the FBI provided an update on the case. FBI Special Agent in Charge Michael McPherson said the police located partial human remains in Carlton Reserve near a backpack and notebook that belonged to Laundrie, though the remains have not been confirmed as his. The area had been underwater until recently. The FBI also announced that Laundrie was named a person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito rather than a suspect in her disappearance. Okay, so I'm a little confused because, and this is why I'm reading you this article. And this article is dated 21 minutes ago. It's 8:10, okay, EDT. So they're saying flowers are delivered to home. Okay, we get that. I wish I could pull this up on the screen. It's really aggravating me. The package was delivered prior to the 4 o'clock press conference. And then we see FBI Special Agent in Charge Michael McPherson said the police located partial human remains in the Carlton Reserve. Well, we just played the press conference. And in the press conference, they didn't say partial. I guess I'm being too picky with my words, but whatever. Partial. I just wish they would be consistent, I guess, is what it is. Consistent. So, hey, Marilyn Landis. It's good to see you. And then they said the FBI also announced that Laundrie was named as a person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito rather than a suspect in her disappearance. I did not hear that in the press conference either. So that's interesting. Let's see. So it goes on to say, with the discovery of partial human remains and personal items belonging to Brian Laundrie, experts believe a notebook will answer some lingering questions in the case. Criminologist Casey Jordan said during a CNN interview that if Laundrie died by his own hand, there may be an explanation or a note of regret inside the notebook that would give answers to investigators and Gabby Petito's family. I'm hoping there are some answers in that notebook. I think that if that notebook is there, there's a good chance there could be a note, Jordan said. We, the public, may never know the content. I'm not sure that we get to know. Well, that's not fair. I want to know it all. Jordan continued to say, it's likely the notebook will contain some answers, but that if it doesn't, you may never know the exact answers of what happened to Gabby. Jordan added that scenario would likely be hard for the family to deal with, and I agree with that. Nima Rahmani, a former assistant U.S. attorney, offered a similar analysis. He told Newsweek that if the remains belonged to Laundrie and he died by his own hand, it's more likely the notebook contains details of what happened to Petito. And then, but wait, folks, there's more. Former federal prosecutor says human remains found likely are Brian Laundrie. Human remains discovered in Florida's Carlton Reserve likely belong to Brian Laundrie and indicate that the case may be concluding, according to a former federal prosecutor. Law enforcement found a backpack and notebook, and that's key evidence. It's certainly like that those of human remains they found belong to Brian Laundrie, unless he was trying to plant evidence next to someone else's remains to throw law enforcement off his tracks, Nima said. Ramani continued that if remains do belong to Laundrie, he was either killed by an animal or person, or he died by his own hand. Well, that's pretty generic. If he self-harmed, it's much more likely that he wrote something in the notebook about Gabby. That's what people who self-harm often do. They open up about everything so their family and friends know what they had been dealing with before their death, the lawyer said. Closure in the case for Petito's family may be more difficult to come by if Laundrie is deceased, Ramani added. But there's no question that Gabby was killed, and by far the most reasonable explanation is that Brian Laundrie did it, he said. Well, I'm glad somebody's actually saying it. So, did I miss a second FBI press conference, you guys? Lillian Gale, I will let you in, my love. Hold on one second. Hey, Lillian.
Hey, Amy, how are you?
I'm good, but I'm a little confused. I'm sitting here reading this article that's dated 6:18 p.m. and it says Brian Laundrie has been named a person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito. The FBI's announcement came after partial human remains were discovered Wednesday in a search area of the Carlton Reserve that had been underwater until recently. I don't want to read forever, but I'll read this one part. As you're aware, the FBI and Northport Police Department and our state and local law enforcement partners have been searching the area of the Carlton Reserve for Brian Laundrie, a person of interest in the murder of Gabby Petito. FBI Tampa Division Special Agent in Charge Michael McPherson said. I must have missed something that happened. Lillian, I missed something. What the hell?
I miss something every day. Are you kidding me?
Apparently, there's a whole other There's a whole other press conference I didn't see. Oh my God. What are your thoughts?
Well, first of all, we're not going to know for sure until they do all the forensic. We know that. But I'm sorry, Amy. I don't have much faith in his Brian's parents at all, because you know what? I know that this is their son. Well, they couldn't even take a call from the Petitos when they were begging, can you please call us back? They were looking for Gabby. I mean, just parent to parent, wouldn't they have at least said, look, we don't know where she is? That's all they could say. But no, they lawyered up, and they couldn't even give these people one little bit of empathy that they were looking for their daughter. So, I mean, and then, okay, I know that reservoir there or whatever it was had water, but I mean, it's so suspect that they decide now it was open to the public. They're going out today, and all of a sudden they found all this stuff. When you had all these police officers, special agents, units with the things going in the water, scuba, everything, they come up with nothing. And you sit back and you say, wow, all the things that we have today, the disposal of tools in the toolbox for the FBI, the local state, you have drones, you got all this stuff, and all it takes is mom and dad to walk out there when the water recedes, and out of this big gigantic place, they go right to it and they find human remains. I don't know. I'm going to have to wait and see. When you see and you hear that it was his backpack and they said it was his and his notebook, you kind of like say, well, that's pretty good evidence. But you still don't know, because you don't really trust the people that found it right off the bat. So no. I don't know, Amy. I really don't know what, but the whole damn case, to me, all of it was senseless, and there's no winners.
I agree. And I think at this point, I with the Petito Schmidt family, of course, but with other families that don't get to see justice because the perpetrator or the alleged perpetrator is dead before that comes down, I don't know how they heal.
I don't. You can't. You know what, Amy? I don't want to interrupt, but you. How can you heal? This new catchphrase that's been going around for years and years, closure. How do you have closure? There's no closure. You have to learn to live with it. Right. You never. And Amy, I got to ask you a question. Sure. Did you hear about this other murder in Bolton, Vermont?
No, I haven't.
Oh, God. Can I tell it to you real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay. I mean, all this, I don't know what's happening to the men in this society and the women too, but it's mostly boyfriend, husband, most of the time. Every day I pick up my tablet or I put the news on, it's another one. It's all day. I'm telling you, Amy, this blew me away too. And it's similar in a way to Gabby and Brian. I read, and it's all over now. It's on this girl named Emily F.L. Filazzo. She's 22. She marries her husband, who was 41. Okay. The stepmother that raised her since she was 20 years old, when she met him, she didn't really care for him. She got a bad vibe. Okay, these two get married. They made their bus into a van, and they were out in Vermont over the weekend, this past weekend, celebrating their first year anniversary.
Okay.
And they were camping and all this stuff. So they get into a fight. Now, this is what he told the police. They got into a fight. She was smacking him and kicking him. And, well, she got out of the car. But what caused him to murder her was, he said, she was kicking him and punched him. Now, Amy, if she's 5 foot I'll be surprised. It showed a picture of them on their wedding day. The family, let me get back to this. The family wanted to know where she was. He told her mother, it was her stepmother, but she raised her from 20 years old. So from the beginning up until now, I'm sorry.
Mhm.
Oh, well, we had a fight and she got out of the van and walked away. And when I went back to look for her, I couldn't find her. Well, he had gone into a store. A police officer came in there and saw him and said, could you come with us? Would like to talk to you. He agreed. He went down to the station. He told them over the weekend, Saturday morning, they had a fight in the van that they made into their living quarters.
Mhm.
He got up, grabbed his gun, and shot her in the head twice.
Oh my God.
Oh yeah. So then what he did was he drove to his, he said his sister's place in that area, left her in the van, and he went and had lunch
Oh
or
my God.
breakfast. Okay. He comes back, gets in this van, drives 12 or 15 hours to a friend's house, and then cuts her feet off, her arms and her head, and put them in a paper bag.
Ew.
He dismembered her. He told the police all of this. He was supposed to go today, I think, in front of a judge. Yeah.
Oh my God. I just can't with this stuff anymore. It's like,
I'm telling you, I was like, and they were supposed to be on this trip in Vermont, Bolton, and they were supposed to be celebrating their anniversary. And he shot her in the head twice and dismembered her. And when the police checked the van, they took the van and there was human remains in there. Of course, now he's pleading, I read not guilty, but I just couldn't believe it. And they said in there, this has the twist almost like Gabby and Brian.
oh. It's just, I mean, yeah, the reactions in the comments, everybody's like, "Holy hell! What the actual hell?"
Amy, I just don't understand what is going on with the men today and our society. What is going on? What is, like, now you got Maya Valente, now he's arrested. Why can't these men just leave? Or why do they have to kill their wives or girlfriends? What are we missing here?
Unbalanced, sick people. Yeah.
Well, Reagan back in the day, he should have left a lot of these facilities open, because I'll tell you what, they'd be packed.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So that's all I wanted to tell you, hon. But if you look it up on, I forget it, but it's Emily. If you look it up, Vermont wife murdered by husband, it'll come right up, because it's all over the place now.
I will. I'm so sick of it, because I'm going to read every story. I don't mean it like that. I just read.
No, I know, no.
But, Folos Dulos, Larry
Yep.
Malete and May Malete.
Yep.
Brian and Gabby,
And
Josh Powell. I mean,
yep. And the girl where you went to, the girl that worked in the complex where the maintenance man killed her, that poor, beautiful young girl. And then you now, right. And we don't know Sheridan Wall. We don't know what happened to her yet.
Mm-hmm.
The one behind in Myrtle Beach, behind the fire station. Another pretty young girl, she was going to see her father, never made it. We could go on and on and on. And I just don't know if we'll ever know what the answer is, but I know it's sickness, I guess. I guess. I mean, part of it, but it's just horrible.
Well, you know what? I wasn't ever gonna do this, but I'm gonna share something. It's not, you guys, it's not like groundbreaking, but I will share something personal, because it applies to what we're speaking about here. And I think before I tell you, I think the problem is that the consequences of domestic violence aren't strong enough to really prevent it. And we don't talk about it. There's a lot of shame involved and everything else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So my husband has 2 older children, and his oldest, his daughter is 27, and she is in a relationship with somebody that is on drugs. She's had children with this person, and he's abusive. And we have done what we can to help support her within certain boundaries, because she won't follow our rules to
Right.
home. We can't give her anything that can be liquidated for money.
Right.
So it's a sad situation, because at Christmas, the kids have to take the toys out of the box. Tags are cut out of clothes. If I buy her diapers or something, they're given to her in a garbage bag. I mean, it's bad. But I'm just, I'm just
I get it.
really real with you. So this morning, this is how my day started. One of the things that happened was that he was arrested. He was finally, somebody went to jail over this, because it's just like back and forth all the time, and it's like,
Wow.
And you always worry, and we're calling like Child Protective Services, and there's only so much you can do. So anyway, I ended up speaking to the arresting officer, because I wanted to know what was going on. And he said, well, he took a socket wrench, and he said he punched her in the face while she was holding her baby. He said, but he wasn't arrested for that. And of course, you guys can only imagine, I'm steaming, because I'm like, seriously, like,
jeez,
this is your rock bottom. I was thinking it would be her rock bottom, and she'd finally leave and do the things she needs to do. But then he's not arrested for that. And I said, well, what was he arrested for? And he said, well, ma'am, he had a socket wrench, and he was beating on the car, damaging the car. So he was arrested for property damage.
Oh, are you kidding me?
No, I'm not. But then listen to this. He kind of like said to me, like, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. You know what I mean? If I sent him to jail on domestic violence, he would be out in 24 hours.
Oh, okay.
Property damage, he's going to sit there until the judge sees him, because I'm writing it up as over $1,000. So he could, how yesterday we were kind of talking about stacking charges?
Yes.
So they found other things he was doing to keep him incarcerated longer, and I appreciate it. I do. But what the hell?
Yeah. They have it backwards. My God, a human life. They say, well, he'll get more time if we write it down that he's damaging a car over $1,000.
Right.
See, the laws have to change.
Right.
I told you my niece the same thing with her husband. He was a control freak. She finally left him, but God rest my mother's soul in heaven. And my dad never knew it. And my brother, I don't know if he knew it, that his daughter was being, it was domestic violence, but because they were gone, they passed. But, she stayed and stayed and stayed. And we talked to her, my mom and I, when she was living, till we were blue in the face. And she would not, and she's so timid, and now she's like 49 now. But I mean, she's still very timid. She's not with him. But Amy, it took years. Yeah. It's so
hard. And that's the thing. I mean, I feel terrible about some of the boundaries that we've put up, but she has to make that decision for herself and stay away. And because she's with a very toxic person, and because there's theft and other things going on, like, we can't, like, we've tried to save her. It doesn't work. Hopefully this is it. She's, with her mother right now, and her babies are with her mom. And I understand from talking to her mom today that, if she breaks mom's rules, which are no contact, that she can leave the house, but mom is a mama bear, and she won't leave with her children. And that's kind of where that is. So I don't, I kind of stay out of that part. But
Yeah.
I just, oh gosh, I just can't believe you get more time, or you sit behind bars longer and you don't get a citation for destroying a car, but you hit somebody in the face and you get to walk in 24 hours.
Yeah. Well, was that Jenny Penny on the line when she said she's like got to take a break a little bit? Was that Jenny Penny?
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And I agree. You get so disgusted. And it's not disgust. It's your heart just breaks because of all this crime. And I'll tell you, like I told you and Trish before, we have more things, well, the police do today, to catch these people with all the surveillance and all the electronics and this, that, and the other thing. And Amy, there's more crime now than ever.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I just don't get it. I mean, you used to be able to go to a mall and park your car, go by yourself, walk into the mall. Well, guess what? You have to think twice if you can't take care of yourself, because, it's too dangerous. And like this person said in this writing, this girl that I told you, this Emily, the case I just told you about, they said she was beating them up. Oh, are you kidding me?
Mm-hmm.
A woman, some women are strong, but we're no match for a man. I don't care how. Now, Brian looked puny to me. I mean, seriously, pardon me. He looked puny, but they're so strong. They're built different than we are. I mean, it's just a fact. You might be able, you have some women that are tough. I'm talking hand-to-hand combat. I'm not saying if a girl has a gun. A woman is no match for a man, period. And my mom always told me, my grandfather said, a man's hand does not belong on a woman to hit her or anything. I wish we still had those old-fashioned standards.
I wish we could go back to the everything I ever needed to know I learned in kindergarten. Keep your hands to yourself.
Yeah. How simple was that?
Like, just don't. I mean, I know you guys. I'm like, my kids, but like, don't touch each other. Don't touch anybody. Personal space.
Yeah, I mean, for real.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure some of this stuff out.
It really doesn't. I want to tell you something. The L Mom brought up something good. I want to read it. And if I can scroll up here and find it. I may not, but she said she has a theory basically that we've become, sorry, I hope I'm saying this right, because now I can't retrieve your comment, that okay, here we go. She says, I have a theory that we've become detached and have dehumanized each other because of social media, but I have no proof and no funding to conduct a study. And then Sean, who's up on screen, Sean Pellegrino, responded, in addition to social media being dehumanizing the L Mom, I think it makes people feel ashamed to admit if their lives are less than perfect for whatever reasons. And I 100% agree with what both of you are saying, but Sean, you hit the nail on the head. I think even before social media, I think about these, somewhere I watched a movie, I can't remember, somebody remind me, whenever the mother in this movie talked about something terrible, she whispered it. So she was like, oh, you heard about Mary Sue? She has cancer.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like we don't need to all run around telling each other your problems, but I think some people, even in my everyday life, would be surprised about what I just told you about my stepdaughter.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think people think that, we have this like perfect life, and we don't. We struggle just like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And I am about, with most of our friends, I'm not going to go out on social media and shame her. And I know I just said it here, but unfortunately, when these kind of problems become everybody's problems, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
fair to tell me I can't talk about them either, you know?
Right.
Right. So, and my husband and I are in agreement over that, just so you guys know.
Mm-hmm.
And, but I think people need to talk about it more. And I think it's hard when you're sitting in a room with somebody or a group of people, and somebody says, well, you know, I left my abusive husband once, and everybody takes a sip of their wine and says, oh, that's terrible. And, you know, 4 other people have had an experience, or somebody else.
Right.
And,
well, Amy, I everybody knows my age. You know, I don't have a complex about it. I'm 71. I'll be 72 in December. And I just got on social media here with my tablet on YouTube and all just a few years ago. And I would always, and still do, when I call friends of mine that I grew up with and all, I talk on the phone. I'd rather be with them face to face, but COVID put a squash on that for a while. But, nobody wants to interact anymore one-on-one.
no.
It's all on Facebook, it's all on Twitter, or it's all on this, and that human connection and is not there anymore.
Yeah.
That's just me, because my nephew, I'll say to my nephew, Brian, you haven't called me. He goes, oh, Aunt Cheryl, I don't like to talk on the phone.
I know.
And I'm like, since when? I said, since when? And well, you don't text me either. So,
Right.
I mean, Amy, it is a different world. That's all I can say. And now I get it. When my mom was living, she said to me and my dad, oh, we've had a beautiful life. And I'd say, Mom, even though we were poor, and I said, Mom, what's wrong with our life? When I was younger, growing up. Well, now I get it. Now I get what she was saying, because this world is foreign to me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not kidding.
No, people are talking about, how now you basically ask permission to call somebody. You text them and you say, can I call
Yes.
you? How weird is that? Because I know I look at the demographics. I know where most of us are in age, but I can remember, before there were answering machines.
Oh, yeah.
Let alone caller ID. Like you picked up the
Oh,
phone.
my God, yeah.
It was always like a surprise, like a potluck,
Yeah. Yes.
And I can remember avoiding the woman I didn't want to babysit for, or something like that.
I'm telling you, Amy, there's very little kindness. And if there was more kindness and love in this world, because you know what, we're all going to the same place, I hope, regardless of what we do. I mean, we didn't kill anybody, God forbid. But, we're here for a very short time. I watched a movie one time, and the movie said, this whole thing lasts 5 minutes. And it seems like it, because life is goes so fast, and people don't realize it. When I was 20, I thought I had all the time in the world. Now I got more time behind me than I have ahead of me. Time is so fast. And if we had more love and kindness and just appreciate what the good things in life, instead of and stop this crazy nonsense of taking a life that isn't yours.
Right. No, I
Well,
agree.
look, kid, I could talk to you all night long, because I don't sleep.
I should give you my number.
So listen, thank you for having me on. I hope the people in your chat know. I came up and I checked my thing. I said, oh, Amy's coming on, so I wanted to jump on. But thanks for giving me the time to vent.
Absolutely. We'll talk again soon. I'll probably see you later on tonight on Websleuths, I'm sure.
You got it, Amy. Thank you, hon.
Okay, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye. So you guys, on that note, I am going to I think some of this stuff, I need to let it marinate. We need to think on it. I just wanted to check in and see how you're feeling. My basic opinion, I'll put it out there, is I don't believe anything until the FBI comes back. I can't. I can't believe that that's Brian. It's too convenient for me. Doesn't mean it isn't true. Stranger things have happened, but it's way too weird for me right now. I can't. I'm not even trying to be funny, but I can't get it out of my head that it's like, oh look over there. Oh, that's his stuff. The day the park opens, it doesn't. No, it doesn't jive with me. It doesn't feel good. It smells bad. I'm gonna trust my gut. I am often wrong, but that's where I stand. So, who knows what the next 24 hours will bring, and maybe we'll be back here talking about it with a different perspective because there is something else to talk about. I don't know. So I'm going to wrap it up for the night. I am going to post really quick at 10:20 this evening. Trisha Griffith will be on YouTube, Web Sleuth's YouTube Live. That's 10:20 p.m. Please join her there. It is going to be great. The Grand Dame of True Crime, that is. And I want to go ahead and thank the people moderating for me, Ping the Router, Rain Dancer, Tambra. I'm having trouble remembering other names because you guys, I can't even tell you this. Well, I can't tell you because I'm going to tell you, so I can. Some of you, I know your real names, and some of them I know your screen names, and I knew your real names before your screen names, and I'm always very, because I actually did it once before, and it was terrible. Luckily, the person was cool, but I once said somebody's like real name out on the air because of that, and so I get like I'm just super, super, super careful. So thank you for everybody moderating tonight. I really appreciate it. I do hope that I see you over on Web Sleuths this evening at 10:20. So you got about an hour. Grab a snack, take a bathroom break, walk your dog, do your 15 minutes of cardio or stretching or whatever you do, or just, lay there like a potato. I don't really care. Whatever makes you happy. And I have my PayPal link up. If you guys want to help me out, donate to this channel, that would be great. I'm going to get rid of it now, but it's posted in the comments. And I will see you guys probably later tonight, but if not then, as I always say, on the flip side. So good night. Thank you so much, Sushi Crew, and I'll be back soon.